Welcome back. So one of my favorite projects to ever make and tell people to make is to create your own Linux core utils. And part of this project is to kind of get that fear of the command line out. So first we have to understand how the shell actually works. So I'm not going to go super into detail, but we have to understand there's two different kinds of commands. Built-ins and external commands. I think they're external commands. I don't know. Maybe that's like Windows terminology, but for example, the cd command is a internal built-in command. We can check this by doing cd. Sorry, which cd. It'll say shell built-in, and there's like external commands like ls. ls is actually an executable in the system, and if you want to see what I mean, you can actually do strace ls, and you'll see at the very top, like right around here, you're gonna see this line, right? Exec ve, and you'll see that it's actually calling that program that which specified. So before we actually even begin doing anything, we have to understand how arguments are parsed, right? What are command line arguments? And if we want to take a look, for example, let's actually quit from this. And we have to, this is not really a mnemonic, but this thing I always remember is that whenever you pass in any arguments after the program, these should be separated by space. And the shell parses it that way, it separates them by space, unless they're in quotes. And I'll actually show you what I mean. Let's go back to our C file. And what we can do is we can use these argc, argv to get the command line arguments. And argc is the argument count, argv is the actual string value for the arguments. This should probably be const, but whatever. Let's iterate through them by going through each one and why that happened. Sometimes I can't type. And let's now compile it. Main.c. As you see, the first argument is the executable itself. Well, the way it was called. Because if I do / COREUTILS main, that's going to be the first argument. So just keep that in mind. Now if we do / main, hello, hi, that's what we get. And we can actually pretend like this is some useful command, right? Let's pretend it's like a calculator, right? We do add 1, 3, 4, 5. It's supposed to add all these numbers together. We can actually see how it breaks down in the argument, like parsing. And you might be like, well, what if I want to like specify a command that has a space in it, right? It's going to parse it by space. So how do I do that? Well, you can just put quotes around it. So let's say add numbers and then do that. It's going to treat this as one argument. So now that you know how this parses, we can actually kind of see how commands like rm, for example, that remove directories, like this command, how they would take in arguments. So let's pretend like the main command is the rm command, and let's give it a file, right? File.txt, other.txt. You can see how it breaks down, right? So technically what we could do is we can iterate from index 1 all the way to the last element inside argv and just remove all of them, right? Well, you'd be right. That's how the rm command works. So let's create a new file real quick. We're going to include a couple other things. We're going to include error no, we're going to include string, we're going to include unistd. Now what we want to do is that we want to make sure if the argument is less than 2, meaning it is 1, I mean the least amount it can be is 1, but I like to do less than 2. So if we do argc is less than 2, you can also do less than equal to 1, but I just do less than equal to, sorry, less than 2. We're going to print an error. Let's print it to standard error, not str error. There we go. And we say rm no arguments given. And we can now return exit failure. Sorry, I forgot to include standard lib. So let's now start deleting files. Now you might be like, well, how do we delete a file in C? I'm glad you asked. Let's look at the man page for unlink. So this is the command we're going to use. And let's scroll down. The only really thing we need to know is, well, the first thing, the argument, which is just the path. And the return value. Now, these functions shall return 0 if it's successful. If it's not successful, it shall return -1 and set error node to indicate the error. What we can do is let's iterate through all the arguments. Remember, we start at 1 because the 0th index is the actual executable. You don't want to RM the executable itself because then it's just going to disappear. That'd actually be pretty funny. Okay, let's do if unlink, and let's pass in the path that we got, and let's do doesn't equal 0, meaning it's probably -1, and let's do printf standard error and say rm unable to delete file, and let's give it the file path. Sorry, the file that you passed in, and another %s. I'll tell you why the other %s is there. We can pass that in, and we can do str error, which will give the error string from the error no. And the error no says right here, they'll set the error no, which is the error number, I guess, to indicate the error. Said error like 5 times. Oh, I am dumb. Forgot to name this argv. This is what happens when you type too fast and just don't look. That was probably really embarrassing. Okay, my bad. Okay, yeah, that works. Let's compile it. gcc arm.c. Don't pass anything. It says no arguments given. And let's actually delete, I don't know, that main file, right? The executable for what we were testing with. As you can see, it's gone now. And if we try to remove a file that doesn't exist, it'll throw an error and it won't like try to unlink the file or anything. And well, yeah, that kind of works. What if we do something a little bit different? What if we do like the ls command? Well, we're not going to make it look as nice as, you know, what we have here, but we're probably going to have like a ls command that, how does it like print it vertically? Actually, don't really know. We're probably not going to make the best ls command, but we could probably make something pretty close, I guess. So let's create ls.c, and let's actually copy most of the code from here, because it's going to be a very similar logic. It's going to be just slightly different. And let's go here, and we're going to create a separate function called void ls, and we're going to have a path we're going to pass in here. The reason why is I hate doing that. Is because if you recall, when you do ls and give it no argument, it should still work. It just uses the current directory. So we're going to do, if it's less than, we're going to return success, but we're going to call ls with just dot like that. And for every single one of these arguments, the rest of them we're going to call ls or vi. And then here we'll implement the ls logic. So what we can do is we can use a set of calls to actually do this. Let's take a look at some man pages. You can start by using open dir. This will return a dir, and there should be an example here somewhere. Okay, well, I think we can figure it out from this. And then the next few we're going to use is read dir. So we'll give us a directory entry, which will tell us a lot about the directory, like the name of it. And yeah, so it's actually it's not too complex. So I know it seems unintuitive sometimes, but let's do dir. Right here, and open it. Now let's look at what the error will be if there's like no file, or like the folder doesn't exist. Well, it's going to return null, so let's take a look. If d is equal to null, we're going to print out an error. ls unable to open dir, and we're going to give it the error that happened. And we'll just return from here, because remember, if it doesn't work for one, that doesn't mean it doesn't work for every single one of them. So now that we know that it's a directory that exists, we can start iterating through it. So let's do a while loop. Let's do struct dirent, stands for directory entry. And let's do while put d right there. And let's take a look at what it will return if there is an error. And pointer to the direct structure. If the end of the directory stream is reached, null is returned and is not changed. If an error occurs, null is returned and error node is set to indicate the error. To distinguish from end of stream to error, set error node to 0 before calling read dir. So let's actually do that. Let's modify it, and let's do doesn't equal null. And at the very end, after this loop, let's do if error node isn't 0, meaning that some value got changed, meaning that there is an error. We will... Now, why is this happening? Oh, sorry. We can go here and this occurred with 2 R's. I have terrible spelling. I used to be good at spelling, but then I fell off. But anyways, we can just do a printf, and we can actually probably modify the ls command a little bit and like add our own little things to it. We can play around with it. Well, actually, there's not much we can do. Yeah, it doesn't seem too informative. Well, we can do %s and ent and do dname. And oh, sorry, finally, we got to do close dir. Make sure we do this. Don't use resources. Don't make sure to free all resources. And let's compile this. As you can see, we printed out all of the like all the elements in our directory. I don't know why it's so terribly out of order. Oh yeah, right. Sorry. The dir, read dir, open dir, they're not in order. So our thing works totally fine. It's just that it's out of order. There's actually a way to fix this, but regardless, for now, we have our ls command working. To make this in order, there's actually I don't know if it's portable though. You have to keep that in mind. But there is a way to print it out in order. But I'm sure you can probably print it out in order by, saving all the names in like an array and calling like Q sort on it or something. You could probably do that. But hey, we have our own ls command. It might totally suck, but at least it works. So we can do multiple, of course, but whatever. It probably works. So yeah, we just created 2 core utils, and you can actually test these out in like, I don't know, a system. We can try to do it. It's actually called Docker. Let's do Alpine latest. Oh. Whoops, looks like Docker isn't running. Give me one moment. I think it's some permission error. I honestly don't have time to care. So I'll just run it as super user. Probably not the best idea, but whatever. I fixed it yesterday. I don't know why it's not working. Maybe it was on my laptop. I fixed it. I don't know. Regardless, we got Alpine Linux running inside of a Docker container. If you actually look at lsbin and see all of these commands we have already loaded in, and as you can see, BusyBox is doing all this. All of these are symbolic links, so we can actually remove them and replace them with our own. So let's do there's sudo on here. No, there's not. And who am I? Well, I'm root, so I can do whatever I want. Bin/ls. This might be yeah, see, ls not found. Okay, it's gone now. So we can actually get out of this Docker container. We can see it's still running. Oh my god. Still running. So we can probably copy in a file in here. I forgot how to do it. I think it's called Docker cp. So let's do, which ones do we have? We have ls. Okay, probably not the best idea to copy it over because it's using glibc, but let's copy the file, the ls source code, and then compile it on there. So let's do docker, not soccer, docker cp. Okay, there we go. There's just the other way around. I don't know why I thought it was going to be like that. That was stupid. Okay, now let's go into cd home root. Oh, remove the ls command. Okay, I'm stupid. I'm trying to replace the ls command and I removed the ls command. Oh my god. Okay. Let's do cd root. Okay, there's vi in here. Okay, there is vi in here. Okay, I think I like royally screwed up. Okay, we're gonna try again. Okay, now I've closed the container because I did exit like an idiot. Okay, let's go all the way up and try to docker run again. This time we will not replace the ls command yet. Okay, let's copy it over. And let's just do it in /home, not /home root. Okay, I'm probably using the command wrong, honestly. I'm like so terrible at Docker that like you can't even fathom it. So we're gonna have to do it like this. I'm gonna yank it and oh my god, it's probably not gonna work. Oh my god, it worked. We don't actually have. All right, now let's try to do GCC. As you can see, now it works. Now we can actually rm bin ls. Let's copy this over. And now we've replaced the ls command with our own. So we can do ls bin, and there we go. It's all our stuff in /bin. That was so embarrassing. I'm sorry. Somebody's probably cringing because I can't use Docker. Okay, so that's about it for this video. That was very embarrassing. But as you can see, you made your own COREUTILs, and you can test them out in a Docker container with like Alpine or something. But yeah, um, thank you guys for watching. Let me know what I should make next. I don't know if I'm gonna cut that out, but I'm probably gonna keep it in. It's kind of funny. But yeah, I hope this video is informative. I highly recommend you guys looking more into this. Like, for example, here you have this huge list of stuff you can work with. Try to make like your own grep, right? File, find. This is gonna be like a 2-minute program to make. Um, you can make your own echo, du, dir name, file name, all that. Sorry, base name, not file name. All these commands, you can always look up their oh my god, I didn't even know this existed. Oh, it's in libgen. Oops. But yeah, sorry, I got distracted for a second. You can write your own like utils here, and it kind of shows that you have a pretty pretty good understanding of how the command line works and everything. So yeah, well, thank you guys for watching. Let me know what I should cover next. Uh, anyways, thank you guys for the recent support too. Like, I mean, I could probably check right now on my phone, but YouTube Studio has been informing me. Like when I started this video, I was at 765 subs, and right now I'm recording and I'm at 771, which is crazy. And again, my view count is just going up and up and up. Last 48 hours, I've gotten almost 4K views, which is insane. And it's actually mostly my shorts blowing up, which is pretty interesting because they didn't get too much traction, but now they are, which is great. But once again, thank you guys for all the support recently, and more videos will come. They will come. Don't worry. I know I've said that I've started school now and I don't have as much time anymore, but I'm starting to manage my schedule. Honestly, I think weekly uploads is possible, but knowing me, it's probably not going to happen. But I'll try at least not bi-weekly. Wait, is it bi-weekly? Yeah, bi-weekly uploads. I'll try to. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. Let me know what I should cover next. Feel free to leave comments. I love reading your guys' comments, especially when you guys suggest things or correct me. Please let me know. So, anyways, thank you guys for watching. Have a good day. Bye.